It's the 11th of August. It's a Monday. And with that, we welcome you inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream that's brought to you by our friends at Bemore Around Town. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is Sarah Ellison and Cordell Woodland. Sarah will be dropping by in a few minutes for his weekly hit. It's a new segment that we're doing, being that he has full access to one winning drive. And this is the time of year where we really lean on the beat community out there that have a chance to watch all of these practices and everything else that happens in between. So looking forward to that coming up in a couple minutes. We'll get into other reports, injuries that have come down the timeline, some vagueness from John Harbaugh during his press conference from over the weekend, but then now also some context that kind of clears a lot of that up. After that, gosh, what else? Chris Brousard had a pretty funny segment with Rashod Bateman before the weekend began. So lots to get to. Jam-packed episode. We're glad you're here. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And, partner, let's sneak some things in here before Cordell pops on.
Yeah, so, Bobby, we've all known since the beginning of training camp that the offensive line and really the offense in general has continued to have problems with pre-snap penalties. And, frankly, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but there were issues with it last year during the season, too. And so it's continued. We've heard from Todd Monk, and he said it's because we're trying to become elite at cadence. So this is the time to practice it for sure. But Sunday, it seemed that John Harbaugh, and really Saturday, it seemed that John Harbaugh started to get a little fed up with it. But specifically on Sunday, the offense came out. And according to reports, in 2 of the first 3 offensive plays with the first team offense on 11-11s, John Harbaugh yanked the whole first team offensive line. He had his hands on his hips. Usually he'll give them, a second chance, or maybe in this case, a third chance. But this time he did not give them another chance to fix their ways. And on top of it, Lamar Jackson, he spiked the ball in frustration. And who had the 2 pre-snap penalties? Well, they were false starts, and it was by Ronnie Stanley and Roger Rosengarten. Those were the 2 that created those snaps. Now, the practice went on, according to reports, and the offense actually had a pretty good day. According to Jeff Zrebiec, it was actually one of the better days for the offense in general. But on Saturday, it was the second team offensive line that was thrown off the field. So these problems continue to persist. And so we just are getting to the point where it's like, okay, it's been a couple weeks of training camp practice. It's coming off the heels of pre-snap penalties being a problem last year. Is it now a cause for concern, or is this part of the process of training camp? That's kind of what we're trying to get down to with our guest coming up with Cordell Woodland.
We got plenty of opinions on that, but there's a guy that's been watching it firsthand. You just mentioned him. We had him on last week, and we look forward to kind of creating a weekly segment with our friend Cordell Woodland, who just popped into the waiting room. So without further ado, let's bring him in. You can find him on social media at Cordell Woodland. You guys know the drill by now. He does a number of things for 105.7 The Fan, local sports radio in the Baltimore area. And again, you can find him very active these days in the Twitter space right there, as you see on the screen. For the audio-only audience, it is just at Cordell Woodland. So with that, welcome in, my friend. I'm sure a busy weekend for you. But you heard the question that kind of Sarah posed, and a lot in this fan base are pondering today, and that is part of the process or cause for concern when it comes to this offensive line. Very early in camp, big picture, but we're 1 preseason game underway. You've had a chance to see it both in practice and at the game itself. So what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable for it to be a little bit of both. It's happened enough here in practice to this point to where it's becoming a daily conversation, unfortunately. And you look at them last year offensively, penalties were a big issue. So, I mean, as much as I think a lot of people, including myself at the beginning at least, wanted to kind of just breeze past this and say it's just a blip and there's nothing to see here, it's continuously popping up each day. Now, I do think the good thing for them is that they weren't heavily penalized in the preseason game the other day. So that's a positive. It didn't necessarily roll over into the game, and that's with it being mostly backups out there for that game. So that I do think that's a good sign. But yeah, you'd like it to be a situation where you can get through a couple of practices and penalties not be a part of the story for the offense.
Hey, Cordell, thanks again for joining us. I'm always looking forward to when you come inside the vault and shed your wisdom and all your knowledge from being at those practices. Now, you guys have been watching this team practice in training camp, plus in the OTAs. Us on the outside and fans got our first look at the offensive line, just as we stay on this theme. And Daniel Faalele didn't have his best performance. He also didn't have a ton of snaps, right? And so he definitely got bull rushed and taken to the ground. I think that's the one play that everybody's looking at. Can you take us inside a little bit more of Daniel Faalele? We know what we saw on Thursday night. Would you say that overall he's played better than that since the pads have come on? Or is this about par for the course where he generally does okay, but then has a really bad play every once in a while?
Yeah, I think that's kind of who he is. And I've said this a couple of times when I talk about Faalele. It's as much as everybody wants him to kind of be this big brute in the middle of their offensive line that is just like a brick house that you can't move and he never has a bad rep. He's not that guy. This isn't a dude that was drafted in the top 10. If he was that good, he would have been. But he's not. I think he is a guy that does have some quality reps in there, but he also has some moments. He has some blooper reel reps, like you saw in the preseason game where he got put on his butt. I can't say that I see him get put on his butt on the daily in practice like that, but also, again, this is why I tell people you can't put a whole lot of stock into what you see in practice all the time, because Travis Jones isn't necessarily always trying to put Daniel Faalele on his butt. If he did every time, maybe he would end up on his backside more than he has. So that's kind of the difference that you get from the games to the practices. I always say with Faalele, what concerns me is when his stamina becomes an issue, and then you do see him get lazy. You do see his base get weak. You do see him start to lunge. That rep that you saw in the preseason was inexcusable. That's not what you want to see from a starting guard, without a doubt. And I don't think every rep wasn't like that, but that's going to be the one that's remembered by everybody because that's the one that stuck out, and people already have their feelings about Daniel, and that rep leans into the idea that people already have about him. So they're going to take that and they're going to run with it. I'm not saying they're wrong. All I'm saying is there's a reason that John and those guys keep putting him out there. Everybody's been begging for Ben Cleveland, yet Ben Cleveland hasn't gotten opportunities. He hasn't beaten out Voorhees. He's not taking Faalele's job. John and these guys know these dudes better than everybody, more than us. We see them on a regular basis, but that doesn't mean I have more intel on them than John and those guys do. So the fact that they keep putting them out there, I think that's a telltale sign on not only how they feel about Cleveland, but how they feel about the guys behind them and what they also have in that offensive line stable. But the fact of the matter, Faalele is going to have to be more consistent. He is going to have to erase some of those blooper reel reps, at least minimize them to a degree. And yeah, you have Lamar and Derrick Henry back there, but all it takes is one play, one hit, one bad landing, and the whole season can go away. You'd hate for it to come off the heels of anybody, but especially 77, considering how people already feel about him.
It's one thing to have Lamar back there when he's bull rushed the way he was on Thursday night with the elusiveness that obviously he gives him a fighting chance to keep that rep alive, keep that play alive. But Cooper Rush, not so much. Devin Leary, not so much, as we all know. Cordell, what a show LaJohntay Wester put on last week. Got to wonder, obviously we know that Harbaugh, from a messaging standpoint behind the podium, has to say that being that he's a rookie, being that it's one preseason game, that competition is alive when it comes to return specialist. One, did he do enough in your mind to end that competition? And two, how filthy was your sideline view or your booth view of that 87-yard house call?
Well, yeah, I do think he's done enough to lock that job up, realistically. He was drafted to be the team's punt returner. They were open about that. And the fact that he goes out there and does what he did in the first game, I mean, what more could you ask for? And it was a good build up to that. I had mentioned a couple of times after some of the training camp practices, he was struggling to field punts on a regular basis. He had dropped a few. And then I would say maybe 2 to 3 practices going into that preseason game, you didn't see many drops on the punt, on him building those punts. So that was a good sign. He's already checked the box of building punts consistently. Now it's about the vision, being aggressive with the ball in your hands, hitting the hole. And that's exactly what he did. He talked about it after the game of just he wanted to be aggressive when he got his opportunity. And he was. I mean, he's running through arm tackles. He's stiff arming guys. And he found a crease and he took it to the house. In my view, we actually sat behind him. So we kind of got to see the whole form and see him hit it and see him break through the tackles and just kind of see him accelerate. It was really good to see, honestly. And I thought that was a huge boost for him. And obviously, offensively, it was not a great day for the Ravens, passing-wise, at all throughout that preseason game. Only, 59 yards passing or something like that. But he's the guy that had, 2 catches for 40 yards or something like that, 30 of them coming off one play. That's what was impressive to me, him showing the ability to win one-on-one on the outside, win down the field, and make a contested catch, especially on a day where you're not having much positive happen in the pass game. So, I mean, I think that game went as good as you could possibly ask for LaJohntay Wester, and I'd be surprised if anybody else is able to take that job from him.
That would be shocking at this point after what he just did. Cordell, over the weekend, the Ravens announced that they put 6th-round cornerback Robert Longerbeam on injured reserve. That comes on the heels of Bilal Kone, another 6th-round corner, being put on injured reserve. Now, what's interesting is Longerbeam, as far as I know, you correct me if I'm wrong, was injured on July 31st when he collided with LaJohntay, who we were just talking about. Finally, he was put on IR over the weekend. Harbaugh kind of gave a vague answer, and I wanted to see what you made of this answer on the other side.
Story, you know what I mean? Okay. It's just a long story, and you can. I really couldn't even explain it to you. Much as I might want to, I couldn't explain it to you. So just, it is what it is. You haven't heard that from me ever, have you? Until now. That was a Brian Billick one. I like Brian. Brian, that was for Brian. Brian, it is what it is.
He does hate that phrase. It is what it is, because he feels like you can always change something. So right. What's your read on this whole situation?
Well, yeah. First of all, it's unfortunate to have these types of injuries. Bilal Kone was a devastating injury. I had too good of a look at that one. You can kind of see his leg not looking the way it's supposed to. You can see that from the press box. So that sucked, especially considering it happened on what seemed like such a basic play. But that's the game. But that's incredibly unfortunate. And for Longerbeam, I mean, I do remember him getting hurt in the practice. He actually had looked like he banged knees, came back out, tried to finish, and then kind of tweaked it again. And then finally, that's when he was done. But you look and you see in the report from Jordan Schultz that you have up there of him suffering a torn patella tendon. I mean, that's pretty serious. That's a very serious injury. I did kind of chuckle yesterday when I'm seeing a lot of the fans talk about the Ravens stash, and I never really thought that was the case. Number one, I don't think this is the time where you're looking to stash a guy. Right. At least let him get some preseason reps. Give yourself a reason to stash him. And if you're going to stash somebody, I mean, realistically, and it sucks that he's going through this, but it's Longerbeam was on the 3rd team, struggling on 3rd team. So I never really bought into the stash thing. I thought that this was a dude. I figured he must have gotten hurt. I don't know how, because I watched him. At least he was helped off the field, but he walked. If you have a torn patella tendon, I would imagine that's something that they probably need to bring the card out or something like that for. So I don't know exactly when it got to this point. But yeah, it seems like it's a situation that they're dealing with internally right now. That's a question. This is a situation I'm still trying to gather more information about myself. But yeah, it seems a little unusual for sure.
Cordell, last one for me. Call your shot. I know it's the 11th. I know there's 2 more preseason games left. I know there's several weeks out from the ultimate decisions that loom for Harbaugh and company to narrow this thing down to 53 men. But if there is to be an undrafted rookie that makes the squad, who's your guy?
Undrafted rookie. Ruben Lowry is a possibility. He's flashed quite a bit this summer. And with their question marks, especially after these two corners go down, he's been kind of this corner/safety. That bodes well for him to have an opportunity to do that, especially considering if they decide they don't want to go get a veteran safety off the free agent market. They want to stay internally. They've got some options. I mean, I know Bo Braid isn't. Bo Braid is another one of those guys. I think he's an undrafted free agent. Obviously not this year, but last year. So he's another one. I mean, those DB guys right now, I would kind of be circling them because they're dropping like flies. And honestly, they've had quality camps. So, the Ravens like to invest in their own dudes, and these dudes have been around. They know them. They're going to be cheaper than the guys that they may bring in off the street, most likely. So, and we're talking about back end of the roster type of guys right now. So I wouldn't have a problem with taking a shot on a Lowry or Bo Braid, if not both of them, to give them a shot to be on the back end of this roster. I think they've both been serviceable. And then if you feel like you need to go get somebody else down the line, you could always go do that. But I think that they'd like to stay internal with those guys right now.
Cordell, just real quick, we're going to let you go here, but I just want to revisit something while you were talking. I was looking at the chat. So just to be clear, going back to the offensive line, you haven't seen anything personally from Ben Cleveland in practice, separate from the games. You haven't seen anything in practice that says he should be competing with Faalele at right guard and not just at left guard?
I don't want to say he shouldn't be competing is probably a stretch.
Okay.
That's probably a stretch. I don't think I can't sit here and say Faalele has been so good to where he doesn't deserve any competition. So I won't say that. But I also can't sit here and say that I'm leaving practices with Ben Cleveland leaving a consistent fingerprint in my mind of, I remember this Ben Cleveland rep. Oh, Ben Cleveland was great today. Oh man, I would really love to see Ben Cleveland get a shot with the first team right now. Like I just don't leave practices feeling like he's left that type of impact. And the reality is John is an old school coach. Practice matters to him. I think everybody can agree that Cleveland has put together quality game film. Even surprise, and I think a part of it is that it shocks people that he's put together that type of game film. And for John, like I said, he's an old school guy. He wants to see it in practice. He wants to be able to see it on a consistent basis. He wants you to be able to have kind of that same drive you have on game days. He wants you to have it on a Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. Yeah. And Ben hasn't checked those boxes for him. He hasn't checked those boxes. And I think he suffers from inconsistent play as well. But I guess they look at Faalele, and it's tough to both of these are ginormous guys. Like they're huge, both of them in their own right. Built differently. But I guess they feel like Faalele, if he ever scratches his full potential compared to Cleveland, getting to his full potential, Faalele would be the better player. So I can't fault them for feeling like Faalele is worth the investment until he proves otherwise, because they feel like his ceiling is higher than Cleveland's.
Cordell, on the way out here, let people know, our people know what you got coming up, where you can be found, what you're excited about for the upcoming week.
Yeah. Obviously, Ravens getting ready for their second preseason game in Dallas this time. So this week, they'll be in shells today. They were in pads back-to-back days, the last 2 days. So today will probably be a little more of a relaxed practice, I would imagine. But every time I've thought that, they still kind of push it to the extreme. So we'll see. But yeah, got a lot of practices this week, and they'll be off Friday. So between now and Thursday, we'll see what information we can get.
All right, dude. Thanks for your time, man. Best of luck this week. We look forward to doing it again.
Yep. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Cordell.
Yeah.
You guys know where to find him. Cordell Woodland. It's exactly that, at Cordell Woodland in the Twitter and X space. We're going to react to that in just a bit. By the way, if you haven't figured it out by now. Sarah and I have teased it a couple times. It's going to become a weekly segment, somewhat of a weekly segment with Cordell. Great idea by you.
2 times a week.
Couple times a week.
Yep.
Cordell's out there, has that direct access, has that firsthand account, and we look forward to leaning on him throughout training camp along with the rest of the beat community, as we've been saying since this got underway a couple weeks back. But before we react to him and everything that he gave us, including the Daniel Faalele hot button item, Sarah, which is certainly the case these days, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Bemore Around Town, and where you can see right now on the screen and where you can go to by clicking on the link that's included in the show notes and as a pinned comment is everything that Brian and his team have available to you for this upcoming season. There are still Orioles events that are at your disposal as well, but for the purpose of our audience, the Ravens and all the road trips and tailgates at home that they have offered to you, including Ravens at Bills coming up in just a few weeks, under a month now. It's going to be hosted by the great Chris McAllister, who was kind enough to join us a few weeks back. And having went on that trip in January, it wasn't the end result for what everybody wanted. It was just a first-class experience with Bemore Around Town, and that's just what they do. What they really do is have you do the following, and it's so simple. You book your spot through Brian, you pack your bags and show up. It's that simple. Everything else is taken care of for you. So for Voltrons, here's the incentive for you guys to get more involved if you're interested in doing so. If you book a full Ravens away trip experience, so whether it's Miami, Buffalo, Kansas City, any of the AFC North in-division opponents, Green Bay, Minnesota, all these great road sites that are coming up, if you book a trip with them, they're going to give you 2 complimentary VIP Purple Tailgate passes to a 2025 home tailgate of your choice. So let Brian know via email if you do. It's brian@bemorearoundtown.com, and that'll allow you to redeem your complimentary passes. I've done every single home game the last 2 seasons. It's the spot to be. And like I said, there's an awesome road slate coming up. Sarah, I'm really starting to kind of hone in on that Miami trip. I got to convince Brian to let me join him. But you already know the Miami one being in St. Pete, which is where I'm going to be in a few weeks from now for the season, is too enticing not to go.
How could you not? How could you not? And like we've discussed before, how could you not go to Green Bay? An iconic stadium and Lambeau Field, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And I mean, even for these home games also, just like these purple tailgate season passes. I mean, lots of good stuff for home and away. He's got you covered both ways. But yeah, I could see you down in Miami soaking up the sun, checking that out right before Lamar and all those Florida boys get to go back to their home state and put on a show.
Correct. And by the way, for those of you that are Florida boys or Florida ladies, because I know some of you guys live down there or spend part of your off season or whatever, you winter down there, the tailgate only pass is available for all of these trips. So right now, there's 4 spots remaining for the 3-night package with Bemore for Miami. I'm pulling up Miami. It's going to be hosted by Jamal Lewis. 17 spots remain for the 4-night package. But again, the tailgate pass only, the deposit, $125. All of these options are still available to you. So thanks to Brian and company. Thanks to Bemore Around Town for the continued support. You guys can go check it out by visiting the show notes. There's also a link that takes you directly to the site, as you see right now in the live chat. So appreciate Bemore Around Town. Appreciate everybody for chiming in on this Monday. Over 1,400 concurrents. Got a good energy about me today. I don't know. I know you had a busy weekend. I had a full-fledged weekend with weddings and Tori coming back from Denver. Just feeling very blessed today. Glad you guys can be with us. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. Ravens fan 1973, that's John R., has given a super sticker to get us started today, Sarah, right before the show. And that brings us to Rave, who has a question for you.
Rave says, Sarah, I asked you a while ago, would John value favoritism over winning? You said no way. Well, if that article about Faalele doesn't prove then, I don't know what else does. Hashtag Ben Cleveland. I knew it from the start. Do you know what article he's talking about? I saw it. I started going around making some rounds across some Ravens Twitter over the weekend. Did you see it?
Help me out.
And Rave Kingdom, feel free to supplement whatever I say here. But basically, John and Faalele go way back. And there was a Fox News article that kind of talked about how from even back then. They've just been like putting everything behind him, trying to grow him and make him, become a NFL offensive lineman. The only thing is that's just new to some of the Ravens Twitter. The Ravens had that in their 2024 press guide. Like, it's been known for a while. So, do I think that John Harbaugh has ties to people and maybe likes certain people and all that? For sure. But do I think he puts it above winning? I don't think he does. Maybe they're saying in the back of his mind he's playing favoritism or whatnot. So I don't know. That's why I specifically asked Cordell. I was like, have you seen anything from Ben Cleveland, that makes you think that he should be more in the conversation? And so he basically said two things are true at once. Faalele always has his moments, and it makes you scared and it makes you nervous because it takes one play for him to fall into Lamar Jackson's knee or ankle or something like that. And Ben Cleveland isn't doing anything in Cordell's mind to say, ooh, why isn't he getting more of a chance? And so it just sounds like there's an opportunity for Faalele. There's an opportunity for Ben Cleveland. There's opportunity for all of them. And I just don't see any of them seizing the moment. So Rave is complete, and others are completely warranted to their opinion that John Harbaugh is putting favoritism over winning. I don't believe it.
While we're on that topic, Rave, Rashod Bateman was asked specifically about his former roommate and college teammate at Minnesota during his press conference over the weekend. That's what this sounded like.
In Minnesota, he was like over 400 pounds, so it's a big difference that he was my roommate, so all the food was gone a lot. So, it's been quite a difference to see him, come to the NFL, going through what he's been through, being from Australia and all of that. It's cool to see him. It was kind of crazy that we got drafted to the same team, but he's worked extremely hard to get to where he's at, so I'm definitely proud of him.
Over 400 pounds, Sarah, at Minnesota.
I saw a comment over the weekend that I do kind of agree with, though, when it comes to Faalele. Somebody said something like, the Ravens teammates and coaches talk about Faalele like he's a Make-A-Wish kid. You know what I mean? Like there's no doubt in my mind. We said this last week. I like Faalele as a person. He seems to be a hard worker. He seems to be a nice guy. He transitioned to football late. He's coming over from Australia. I don't think anybody's disputing about that he was a great roommate to Rashod Bateman, or that he's a hard worker, or that he's a great guy to be around. I think at the end of the day, me and I think a lot of, Ravens Nation are concerned because of what we see on the tape and these big blooper reels that come way too frequently. So I don't know. I personally, because I've seen Ben Cleveland be a gamer, I'm just like, whatever, put Cleveland in there, like give him a chance, especially in the games. But at the same time, you have to criticize Cleveland if he's not putting in enough effort during the week. It's like there's so many people you could blame because there's so many opportunities right in front of you. And it's like, somebody just nab it. Somebody just nab it. And I will also say this. If you are convinced that Harbaugh's playing favorites, I just feel like, well, why didn't Eric DaCosta bring in a right guard? He could have signed one. Why? Like, there's other people in the building. You know what I mean? And so it's like, why didn't... If John Harbaugh was so against Cleveland, wouldn't he have said, hey, don't re-sign him? I don't want him back in here. He's a bum. I'm never going to give him a chance. And so I just think I just think it's too much conspiracy theory there. However, something still needs to get better. And to me, I would still like to see Ben Cleveland in that spot during the week on Sundays, because I already know what I have in Faalele.
Well, maybe we'll get a chance over the next few weeks, game 2 and game 3 for preseason. D-Rod says, happy Monday, family. Happy Monday to you, D-Rod. And Rave, thanks for leading us down that road. He almost knew that we had stuff prepared for the Faalele conversation. Saad Blitz is in the building. Sarah with a super chat.
It says 6-round CBs basically got redshirted on IR. They won't use a roster spot and can get nicked off the practice squad. Can't get nicked. Sorry. Yep.
Ravens Flock 5752 says, y'all okay with defensive back depth after Kone and Longer Beam's IR designation? We've talked about that a little bit.
We'll get
if
to
there
it
were ever a year, and we're going to have more on it,
yeah.
But if there were ever a year they were in good position, it would be this year, even after losing a couple of them the way they have. Katie Ramey has become a new channel member, so official Voltron status for Katie. Thank you, Katie. And JCT Slice says, Sarah, why is Daniel Faalele still so bad?
That's a good question.
Big
I mean,
time.
all this work and still getting bull rushed like that can't happen. Can't happen.
Just to reiterate, put some good stuff on film, especially in the Keaton Mitchell run game on Thursday night. But when he is bad, it gets really bad, and it gets scary for the quarterback behind him. In this case, it was Cooper Rush for that bull rush. Let's see. What do we got here? MacDame Harry.
Just move on.
$19.99. It's an orange banner. Appreciate you, Mac. For you, partner.
He says, so glad to catch y'all live today. I'm usually stuck at work when you're on, but I never miss an episode. Thanks for everything you do. You guys are the best. Hopefully I can catch more live shows soon. Mackie.
Aha.
Finds it.
Could have read it.
Or her. Mackie? Is that a girl?
Don't know, but thanks, Mackie.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank you.
Rave is back. John and Faalele sitting in a tree. Kissing. Olu for you.
Our QBs looked terrible. Line was great, but Rush for as long as he has been in the league. Line was great, but Rush for as long as Cooper Rush. No bueno. O-line did well and run pro. Defense was solid.
Give Coop a chance.
Yep.
Give Coop a chance. I know it wasn't pretty.
I'm here to be patient for Coop.
Yeah.
Not so much for Devin Leary. At least not this year.
No. Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. We'll see.
That would be the long patient game till like maybe a year or two down the road. Cooper, I still feel like deserves patience for this year to catch on to the offense that he's
T. Martin, man. Yeah. T. Martin went out and went to bat for Devin. Not looking great right now, but he's going to be in the system, you would think, unless you just cut all together. But you would think he's going to be, while in that rookie window, continuing to scratch and claw for practice squad spots. But that's where we stand. Appreciate you guys for being with us. Over 1,600 concurrents on this Monday. Please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, partner. Let's get into some more context on where they're at right now injury-wise.
Well, before we do that, let me just hit a couple more highlights because I know Cordell wasn't at practice yesterday. He was there Saturday. He was not there yesterday. And so I just wanted to hit on a couple of notes that I've seen out there reported basically everywhere. So after those penalties that we talked about, it sounds like the offense finally got onto a roll. And as you can see here, Lamar Jackson was absolutely dishing throughout the rest of the practice. He hit, there's Charlie Kolar that he hit in the middle of the field. He had already hit Flowers down the sideline. Here's Flowers again on the other sideline. Then he's going to find across the middle of the field for who that ball is traveling a long time. Oh, that was Bateman. I believe that was the one where they scrambled for a minute and Lamar told Bateman just to go and he went flying. And then he got, I think that was, a 20-yard pass. So, he said that Bateman was covered. This is according to Jamison Hensley. Bateman was covered on that last play. And Jackson just said, hey, go downfield. So he went. I mean, it was all different sorts of receivers on Sunday. So hopefully by getting yanked out of practice, they got down to business. Lamar threw on his helmet in frustration because of those penalties. And then they went off. And then on Saturday, there are a couple highlights here where Lamar's dealing again. This one to Mark Andrews. Lots of praise of Mark Andrews coming out of camp. So not surprising whatsoever. And then I couldn't see who that deep touchdown was to. This one right here is to DeAndre Hopkins. So, I mean, there's just, highlight upon highlight. Who is that? Could you see?
That happened so fast.
It was so fast.
Let's see. Who is that?
Is that DeAndre?
Dayton?
I can't see the number. I can't see the number.
Wow.
It might have been Dayton because I did see some notes from him.
Wow.
From Saturday.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, also some more notes from Sunday. Tyler Loop continues a pretty good stretch here. He finished Sunday's practice going 12 of 13. So he was 92.3%. His lone miss was from 45 yards out. So I just wanted to hit those highlights before we got into all the injuries, Bobby.
45, right? And so you said 45, 46 was his miss preseason, and then he comes back in 52. So something about that mid 40s is getting after him a little bit, but another solid, consistent day. Like we said, he's been stacking for weeks now at camp, and obviously showed some resilience to. What did John refer to the miss as from 46 over the weekend? Was it a slip or what was it?
Stub toe. Stub toe.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, 12 of 13, not bad. 13 of 13 is better, but I feel pretty good about a rookie at 12 and 13 continually, seemingly getting better. But let's go ahead and hit up on talk more about those injuries. We already talked about the Ravens did put Longerbeam on IR. Cordell said he's going to look more into like what exactly happened to go from having this collision on July 31st where he went back into practice for a second to now a torn patellar ligament tear. And it's just like, what happened there? So don't think we have answers just yet, but to one of the super chatters points, listen, this cornerback room is still doing pretty good despite losing 2 6-round picks. Bobby, if Bilal Kone and Longerbeam were still healthy today, I'd have a hard time knowing if they were going to make the 53-man roster anyway. Because here are your top 6 corners who all practiced on Sunday. You got Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Jair Alexander did not practice, but it's not serious. But Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Jair Alexander, Chidobe Awuzie, TJ Tampa, and Jalen Armour-Davis. Jalen Armour-Davis had a great first preseason game, and according to reports, he's been coming on during training camp. So I don't know that Longerbeam or Kone was going to be able to beat those top 6 out. Your heart still goes out for him. You don't want him to have injuries. I bet they would have preferred to be on the practice squad all year or being open to another team plucking them off of the 53-man roster. So this is in no way good news for them. And at the same time, when we're talking about the depth of this cornerback room, it's basically those top 6 anyway, injury or no injury.
Seems like that door is open, though, for the question that I asked Cordell. This could be the room where the undrafted rookie finds his way. One undrafted rookie finds his way onto this 53-man. He mentioned Ruben Lowry. You see the players that you listed out 7 through 9 that you already mentioned. I mean, this is where it starts to get interesting. If there's one position group that I'm circling where maybe the best chance, if you will, that an undrafted rookie has, it's probably the corner room. And then to your point, you hate to see those guys go down the way that they did. One that we watched, it was really excruciating to watch Bilal's, like Cordell said, and he had the vantage point of probably almost too much of a vantage point. And there were plenty of highlights circulating of his leg and the way that it was bent after that play. That was horrific. And then with Longerbeam, you hate to see them go down the way they did. But if you guys like what they've shown so far, even though it's such a small sample size and no real game speed aside from the preseason, at least they're going to be in the organization for the foreseeable future rather than, like you said, getting stuck on the practice squad and then maybe getting plucked if they're showing a lot. So
yeah, and speaking of Ruben Lowry, which you just brought up, and so did Cordell, yesterday, several people reported this, but here's Bo Smoka specifically. He said Lowry had a nice diving pass breakup and then jumped in front of a floater from Cooper Rush for an interception. He says the ball keeps finding the undrafted defensive back from Tennessee, Chattanooga. And the nice thing about Lowry is he's kind of played everywhere. He's been playing cornerback and safety at camp. And so really the real question is how's his special teams ability? Because that's really what would get him on this team one way or the other. So other than him, if you're looking specifically at cornerbacks, it's what you said, like Keon Martin. I thought he had a pretty good first preseason outing where we finally got to see him for the first time. So it's all going to come down to special teams, but those 2 injuries for sure opened the door for Lowry.
And other notes from the weekend, including this, a new running back has been signed, Myles Gaskin. Of course, Robert Longerbeam, the corresponding move there, as you see from the Ravens account on Twitter, being placed on IR. And so what's the context behind all of this? Well, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill are not going to play, at least
most
are
likely.
not likely going to be playing. in the Commanders preseason game, really any preseason at all. Cowboys is up next. Then the Commanders is the third and final. And then Keaton Mitchell, as we learned recently, has a minor injury. John Harbaugh says it's not serious. The same could be said for Kyle Hamilton, by the way. Keaton was held from practice over the weekend, probably a precautionary. And you had some other notes here on the other running backs. So I'll let you take.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so because of those facts that you just laid out, that Keaton, Justice, and Derek, probably none of them will play. It's Saturday, right? This week's game is Saturday night against the Commanders. I'm pretty sure it is. If you want to be, I don't want Keaton Mitchell in there. Even
it's a road trip to Dallas, and then the last preseason.
The last one is Commanders. Okay, so but it is Saturday, correct?
Yep.
The Dallas. Okay. Anyway, so you have to have bodies to play in Dallas. And so Rasheen Ali, I remember John Harbaugh saying after that first preseason game that he kind of got banged up, but according to reports, he moved pretty well in practice on Sunday. Marcus Major, who was out with a concussion, he returned. He was put in a non-contact jersey, but if he continues in the trajectory that he's heading, he should be available against Dallas. And then obviously Myles Gaskin, who is a veteran. He's been around. He's got a lot of yards under his belt. I mean, was available for a reason, but I think he's more than the typical camp body, right? Where it's maybe like some undrafted guy out of nowhere. He definitely has a resume. That being said, he will be used in that kind of role where it was more like, we need a body. We're protecting our top 3 running backs.
Yep. And just to be clear, 2 more Saturday preseason games. The 16th this upcoming weekend in Dallas. The following weekend, the 23rd, it's a 12 noon kickoff down in Landover with the Commanders. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff against the Dallas Cowboys coming up this weekend. And then just overall, in terms of availability, Sunday's practice report, missing in action, Kyle Hamilton, Keaton Mitchell, DeAndre Hopkins, Jair Alexander, Isaiah Likely, of course, who's recovering from surgery. Is it Kwenku? William Kwenku?
Go with it.
Emory Jones continues to be on the NFI list, and as the days creep closer and closer to the regular season, it's a bummer for their second rounder out of LSU.
That's like one missing key out of all this. We're talking about Ben Cleveland, Faalele, and Voorhees, and it was like Emory Jones, third rounder, was like a guy that was like, hey, maybe he'll push everybody, but he just hasn't returned from his shoulder injury. And every day that he misses, like the less likely he's even going to be able to get a chance.
Correct. And by the way, it's a 3rd round pick out of LSU this past April. TJ Tampa returned to practice. And then as far as you already mentioned this, Jair, DeAndre, Kyle, Keaton, everybody's okay. Just precautionary stuff. Veterans.
And Hamilton was running on a side field.
Good.
And I had heard when for the first time he went out of practice, it seemed like he was stretching his kind of groin area. So that's not official, but that's kind of what reporters had noted when he first went out a while ago. And so if that's the case, for sure, no need to put him in practice. Like, let that rest and get back to 100%. So other than longer beam over the weekend, it seems like all these other missing guys it's all kind of just precautionary, making sure that nothing worse could happen to him.
Back to Super Chats we go. Sod Blitz 3445. And by the way, Chris Brousard's coming up, and he has a purple robe on, so stay tuned. Sod says, that's Pro Bowler Daniel Faalele to use scrubs, with a bunch of laughy emojis. These guys are going back and forth with each other today, Rave and Sod. And Rave is back, Sarah, with a Super Chat.
Raves, he's not letting it go. I have so much responses, but how about this? What film is more important than game film or practice film? Sarah, I rest my case. Cordell said Faalele should be in competition, even me better than Faalele. I don't think we're disagreeing on this, Rave Kingdom. This is where words can be put in your mouth. You asked me a question about favoritism. If you're asking me based off of game film, who would I put in? I would put in Ben Cleveland. We're on the same side there, but you asked me if it was favoritism, and I'm not going there yet. Let's be very clear where we disagree and where we agree.
Come on, Rave.
Come on, Rave.
Fa la 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 la.
No.
Fantasy is reality 67. $10 Super Chat. What's going on? Shedeur Sanders says, I hate that the handles aren't here. It's very informal because this is our guy, but I forget his name because it's just they're not in front of us. So hopefully we can get that fixed at some point. But he writes, Shedeur Sanders looks so good during his preseason start, Cleveland will probably cut him. Hey, Sarah, tell the Ravens to drop Leary and snatch Shedeur when that happens. LOL.
Obviously, I don't have much pull. Well, not that I don't think I was on. Actually, yeah, I wasn't with you on the third day, but I for sure was rooting for the Ravens to draft Shedeur Sanders when he was still available on that third day.
Yes, you were. We got some quick hits coming up on Shedeur because he had a preseason opportunity and he grasped the opportunity and made the most of it. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Sod Blitz says no starters in preseason in 2024 equals 2 opening losses, divisional in Buffalo, 5 division champs in first 6 weeks. We cannot afford a slow start this year.
Agreed on the slow start. Still doesn't mean I'm risking putting Lamar and some guys on that star level out there. Sorry.
Nope.
I would prefer a slow start than an injured star.
Not a Cincy slow start, but you know.
But they still need to start fast, and that's hopefully they're doing that with these joint practices where they have a little bit more in control. So
no doubt.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us on this Monday. Coming up on 2,000 concurrents. Thank you guys for spending part of your days with us, even those of you who are watching this in non-live format. We appreciate you. We appreciate our audio-only audience and everybody else out there as well. Like the video on your way in, subscribe, hit that notification bell, support our brand sponsor, Bemore Around Town. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership, and the apparel line is available to the general public at thevaultpod.com, all of which can be found in our show notes below. Partner, Chris Brousard is at it again.
Yes, in the best of ways.
As you and everybody else in this fan base adores, including myself, by the way, because I like good entertainment, and Chris gives us all that and more when he pops on First Things First. Decides to throw on a pair of sunglasses, decides to throw on a purple robe on national television with maybe some chips, with maybe a soda and a whole lot of charisma, and then guest books Rashod Bateman. It's probably going to catch our attention. That's what he and his panel had a chance to do this past weekend. What was your thought before we play it?
Now play it
the
first.
Entertainment level of this.
Oh, it's off the charts. Play it for everybody to see and hear.
Off we go. First things first. And Bate making an appearance with the guys. And there's the screenshot, of course, which is hysterical. Here is the actual segment itself. And by the way, we can't actually play the video. There's screen grabs over it for copyright purposes. Just know that Bateman was in mean mugging form. The dude was barely laughing.
He's like arms folded.
Oh, he was business-like and then some, which I kind of love from him. But Chris was still having a boatload of fun right off the top, and he put on a show.
Okay. There you go.
This is how.
There we go.
That's right. That's my man, right? Like, this is how I celebrate Ravens victories. I am the number one Ravens fan on the national scene. And when you guys, particularly on the road, when you go into somebody's house and whip them, I say you go into their house, you put on their bathrobe, you kick your feet up on their coffee table, you make them make you a sandwich. Go make me a sandwich and get me some potato chips. That's what y'all do on the road, and I'm here for it. Here's
the continue that.
Yes, I do too.
For sure.
Here's my one thing though. I haven't been able to do this in the playoffs. So is this the year, Rashod, where I am going to be able to do this in Nick Wright's face in the postseason?
Yeah, man, I definitely think that's the year that we all put it together. Man,
That's what I'm talking about.
For sure, man. That's the only way we feel right now, man. Lamar's hungry. Obviously, the whole team is hungry. And, man, all we got to do is, connect and play big in those moments, man. We find a way to put it together, then I think we can, we got a shot per usual.
That's music to my ears. Music to my ears. I love it, my man.
And that is how the Chris Brousard First Things First with Rashod Bateman segment began, Sarah. Those of you who haven't caught it, if you're wondering what Nick, I'm sure many of you are. I tweeted it out last week. Everybody was wondering, what did Nick ask? Sarah, Nick focused on exactly what Chris kind of was getting at there, and that is the differences, whether it's tightening up or pressure management, whatever. We've been obviously spending all offseason trying to figure out what's their Achilles heel in January, ball security, whatever it is. Nick essentially asked a respectful, I might add, question to Rashod about what changes and if he observes anything that's, and I'm sure these guys are getting sick of that question, but that's what Nick Wright asked Rashod during this interview.
What was the answer?
It was just the same type of, I don't even remember. It was so carbon copy of what. You want to know what?
You built up the question so well. I was ready to hear what the answer was.
It was nothing memorable. It was just the same type of stuff that all these guys say, which is, hey, we gotta get our eggs in. We gotta get our ducks in order. We gotta essentially translate what we've been able to do in the regular season to the postseason. I mean, it's all to me. It's all the same type
generic answers for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, yes. Well, knowing that Nick Wright was like, well, it's going to change, which is a fair question, but still coming from Nick Wright. Here's what I love about this show is they do put their biases out there for us to see. I feel like so many reporters or even like opinion commentators like these guys pretend that they're objective. Listen, I'm open about it too. I worked for the Ravens for 13 years. I know a lot of people around there. I love the Ravens. I want them to win. There's my bias. Everybody can know. And I love that Chris Brousard is clearly showing his bias, and Nick Wright clearly shows his bias for his Kansas City Chiefs. So you better believe I want nothing more than for Chris Brousard in the playoffs when inevitably the Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs meet after the Ravens have beaten the Bills in the playoffs. Has to happen in order for them probably to make it to the Chiefs. And when that happens, who in this fan base would love to see Chris Brousard to put on that purple robe? And look, Bobby, he's got the old school Ravens logo, 30 years. That's the one they used in that first year before there was like a big copyright lawsuit and all that, and the Ravens had to change their logo. But he's got on that old one from 30 years ago. And he wants nothing more than to go to his pal, Nick Wright, Kansas City Chiefs fan, and say, bring me a sandwich and some chips and a soda pop. So, hey, like to hear that confidence that Bateman had. This is the year we put it all together. It's music to all of our ears, but we need it to actually happen. But we can only take it 1 week at a time. But I would love for that day to come where Chris Brousard could do that in Nick Wright's face in the postseason.
I got to say, the panel really struggled interviewing Rashod. He's been making his rounds these days since the breakout happened, but it just wasn't that like engaging of a conversation. I don't know if it was the generic questions that he's already answered a million times over the course of this offseason and now into training camp and regular press conferences, but it was just very, Rashod was not very animated in the interview. And maybe that's a good thing because the dude is locked in. And he's trying to build off of what he did last year. And a big part of that puzzle, of course, is Lamar Jackson. They found that chemistry, Sarah, that so much of Ravens Nation has been yearning for over the years with the lack of availability at times leading into leading into the 2023, because Rashod's been healthy now for 2 straight seasons. Mm-hmm. The dude's been ready to go. He's stacked availability. It's awesome. But that Lamar chemistry that we watched really from a big play standpoint, hence the nickname Big Play Bait, showcased itself last year. And Rashod talked about some observations that he's had of what he's watched from number 8 recently.
No, it's like, yeah, but it's a much deeper conversation. But the dude's a 99 overall for a reason, so it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint what he does wrong. That's why I don't get paid to do that. That's a marketing job. But Lamar, he's very, more vocal than he's ever have been about what he wants from us, even to the staff, to the O-linemen. He's definitely pushing the agenda of, just staying hungry and, being competitive. He's definitely a competitive guy, and he's leading us in the right direction with that.
Sarah, that matches up directly and perfectly with what other beat reporters shared from over the weekend, including Jeff Zrebiec of The Athletic, the vocal piece of that. He said he's the most vocal he's ever been, and Jeff said, this is the most vocal I've ever seen in a practice setting, in a training camp setting from Lamar. Now, obviously, we know why, going back to our early segment, given some of the lack of polish, I think is a way of putting it. And Lamar's not going to stand for that, nor should he. And the fact that now year 8 for him, it's funny to watch the evolution of a player that has gone from the rookie, the player who leads by example, maybe the unassuming player, not the way he plays. I'm just talking about the way he chooses to lead. You're starting to see a shift in recent years from Lamar. And why wouldn't you? It's year 8. The guy's been around the building.
Good. We need all of it. Take all the intensity up a notch. Lamar, just wants to win. It's a team sport. He's obviously the leader. He's the face of the franchise right now. He has been since he took over the starting role, MVP, all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, you're the leader on the field with your actions. And so, they all do it in different ways for sure, but he's got to direct everybody and he's got to make sure everybody's in the right spot, doing the right thing. And so hearing that he, slammed his helmet when there were false starts and then the offense goes off, that's the type of fire you kind of want to see from your leader. And Bobby, in that clip, Rashod Bateman said it's not his job to critique Lamar, but it is his job to run routes. And I thought that was pretty cool how people were asking him how he does that, how he's so good at route running. What has he done? He talks about film study and shouted out a Hall of Famer at the position.
On the field and practicing it for one, but also just watching, a lot of film. I watch a lot of Jerry Rice. I watch a lot of other guys in the league, even Zay Flowers himself. But you got to be a student of the game, and I'm blessed to be a student of the game. I love it, and I'm always trying to find different ways to tip off, the DBs to make a thing go left and go right. So, some guys don't have it, and some guys do have it, and me and Zay are definitely two receivers that I think definitely have what it takes to be at that elite level in route running. If you go to YouTube, it's a highlight tape of him, but it's like very, very old. You gotta look very closely for sure. But you can see that he was ahead of his time when he was playing. He run routes how a lot of us do today, and there wasn't a lot of guys doing it back then. So he was definitely the OG in route running for me, for sure.
Bobby, I gotta imagine that one of the favorite things from a wide receiver perspective is just obviously going up and making a sick catch over somebody. Maybe they moss somebody in the end zone, maybe come down, get a toe tap, first down or something like that. But another one that that Bateman was speaking to there, he just loves setting up corners. I'm going to make you think I'm going this way and you start going that way. And if a camera's on us, the camera lost you because you went one way and I went another way. And we just showed a clip of Zay Flowers doing that against one of the Colts defensive backs last week during a joint practice. Outside of making like a moss catch in the end zone or like a toe tapping catch, like that's got to be up there on their list of just things that they love to do. I'm setting you up. You go that way, I go that way. I'm wide open, and I got myself open because I fooled you.
He's not kidding either. It doesn't take you long when you go to Rashod Bateman's official YouTube channel to figure out how he is and how he's gotten himself in the shape and the technique, right? He's really become a technician from a route running standpoint. Go watch his YouTube videos. I mean, he gives you an inside look, especially with the one in Miami that he worked and trained with Zay Flowers. I mean, the cone work, the strength training, everything he's doing with his team, it all correlates. So he's a lot of fun, and I love the little inside look that YouTube channel gives. It's a great little inside look. And speaking of inside looks, I think DeAndre Hopkins gave us an inside look into his mind when it comes to some of the players that he has a chance to go up against. In speaking of cornerbacks in this case, and he was asked, "Hey, throughout your early time with the Ravens, is there anybody that you enjoy battling with from a DB standpoint?" And Sarah, he mentioned unprompted, really. I mean, this was his decision on who he could choose from. And we've already talked about all the ones that are options in that room. A second-year player and a first-rounder that had a pretty darn good first year. Look at him getting some love from a 13-year vet and a future Hall of Famer in DeAndre Hopkins.
I like going against all of them, but I would say specifically Nate Wiggins. I think Nate is he's a young guy who loves competing. He wants to be great. Obviously Jair and I have played against each other before, but I've never played against Nate. Chig, I played against him, I played with him in Tennessee. So I would say, Nate, just because, him and I have never really got reps against each other. And, he's a young corner who wants to be great.
When you see him, do you feel like he has all the tools that you need to be top level at that position?
Oh, yeah, of course. He's a Clemson guy. So, we train him well around there, man. But Nate, Nate, he competes every day. He doesn't complain, comes out and work. He has every tool set that you look for in a lockdown corner.
Sarah, side note, the Clemson experience might be among the best, if not the best, in all of college football. I don't have a ton under my belt, but Death Valley was unreal. And that town lives, eats, breathes, sleeps college football. And both of those guys, as DeAndre mentioned, were Clemson Tigers. But Sarah, for him to single out Nate, granted gave everybody their flowers in the room, but we've seen these battles play out through some clips that have surfaced through Ravens productions, DeAndre being on the winning end. One play that comes to mind that Nate was called, or what was it? Oh, excuse me. DeAndre was called for an OPI, but just the battle, the sticky coverage, DeAndre going up and getting that ball that was perfectly placed in the right-hand corner of that end zone early on in training camp, with Nate being on the wrong end. But then again, he was on the right end because it was an OPI. It just speaks to the great work that a young player is getting from one of the most savviest that has ever played the game in a lot of ways, in DeAndre Hopkins. And you got to think that that's going to pay dividends for him come regular season when the bullets are flying.
You also got to think that DeAndre relishes the opportunity because he is one of those guys that does like to mentor. I remember a lot of reports coming out of Kansas City about how much he liked to mentor the wide receivers there. And I know he's doing the same thing with the receivers here, but on top of it, he's like, wait a minute, we have a reputation to keep up as Clemson men, And so I'm sure there's a part of him that just relishes in being able to prepare him for the NFL season and just have another, alumni from Clemson do well in the league. And so I just love that about DeAndre, that he is always looking to help out others and bring them along and grow them. And on top of it all, sure sounds like he still is playing pretty well out there, and his connection with Lamar has gotten off to a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, real quick, just one last thing from pressers over the weekend. We've kind of forgotten about him, and we don't talk to him as much because of Jair Alexander. But Chidobe Awuzie is still in that cornerback room, and he has an affinity for the Ravens. He talks about how much he enjoyed playing Madden when he would use the Ravens defense. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed has a lot of respect for them. But he was asked why he chose the Ravens when he had other options. This is pretty good.
To have options, but when I talked to Coach Harbaugh, or like my agent told me the Ravens were calling, there was something in my heart that was like, Ravens, like it's like a little bit of like intimidating, but also excitement, like just surrounding the culture that they built here. And like that was like it was like a gut feeling that just told me to run after it. Now, obviously, talking to Harbaugh, I had a chance to talk to some guys like Marlon, Nnamdi Madubuike, and then some players that have played here previously, and they all said the same thing. So it was just really that gut feeling that made me want to just run towards here, and it's been great so far.
Sometimes you just got to follow your gut, Bobby. Not bad to have Awuzie as CB4. That's your depth right there. CB4, Chidobe Awuzie. So, but pretty cool. Yeah, just sometimes got to follow your gut, go where you think you're supposed to go, and hopefully it works out for everybody.
Both he and Jair just fighting the evidence out there that there is some legit evidence in recent years that they just can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
So both those guys are going to be trying to change that. It's not a narrative. I mean, it's fact. They've struggled with availability. I'm sure that was a big part of the negotiation that went south with Jair and for that restructured contract that he was hoping for in Green Bay. And it was absolutely a part of the process in Tennessee with them releasing him and paying over $7 million this upcoming season for him to suit up elsewhere. So it's going to be fun to watch. Hopefully both those guys beat those allegations, if you will, or beat, those stories that are going to be following them. Yeah. Other notes, Jordan Schultz, NFL insider, noting that he had a chance to speak with someone on the Ravens staff about Mike Green. And here's the quote that he shared from that staff member. He just knows how to get to the quarterback. Jordan says they wanted to see it versus a real opponent and loved what he did against the Colts. How could you not? Where he had a 30% pass rush win rate. Thought it was higher than that.
I thought we saw one last week that said 50%.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Brett. I thought Brett Coleman shared that.
Well, but that was from, I mean, everybody can like subjectively grade it differently, right? Like, was this a win or a loss? So
point is, he was impactful.
It was a pretty good win rate. We'll put it that way.
He was impactful. The other piece of the quote, he's relentless. You feel him every snap. It's fun to watch his tape and see the bend he has for his size. He's going to be a great player. And Sarah, that bend was on full display in this clip right here. Look at the angle. Look at that left ankle. Look at the left ankle.
Bro, this is crazy. So this original photo was put out, Sean Hubbard, team photographer for the Ravens. Okay. Then you have a zoomed in view of it. If somebody were to say the phrase, ooh, he broke his ankles, like that would be the ankle I would look at and be like, dang, no wonder he's like on IR, right?
Yeah.
But Mike Green isn't on IR. This is just Mike Green being bendy as always. And so people had a lot of fun with that and put him on with the speed skaters on ice. Just lots of fun memes came out after that. But Bobby, that right there is like gumbo. That's like the Elastoman. Like, my goodness. And look how low he is. And that's why the offensive tackle can't do jack against him. That is crazy right there. People talk about bend. I mean, his ankle is almost at a 90-degree angle. His leg is almost at a 90-degree angle with his foot. And that's just par for the course for Mike Green.
Yep. That's what he does. It's just what he does. Roquan
Are we on
Smith.
quick hits? We're doing quick hits before Super Chats?
We're fully caught up on Super Chats. We're in quick hits, baby. We're rolling.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
Yep. We're rolling right along. We got one that just came in a minute ago from Dre Dog.
Okay.
So.
All right, keep going. Keep rolling with Super Chats.
Yeah, the top NFL 100 players that are voted on by players leading up to the start of the season and whatnot have been going on for weeks now. And Roquan comes in at 40. And you had some notes here in terms of how he fares against the great Ray Lewis since coming to not Baltimore, but since being drafted by Chicago.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say this. He was the fastest person, I think, to get to 100 tackles, which is bananas. But yeah, I mean, players giving him number 40 in a down year, which was still an all-pro year. And he's the first player since Ray Lewis to post at least 100 tackles, multiple sacks, and at least one interception in each of his first 6 years of a career. So, yeah, he's did you watch the video, by the way, that they put out, the NFL Network put out when they announced him as number 40?
I did not.
Okay, there's a couple of super funny scenes. My favorite is basically at the end of a play, and technically the runner isn't down yet, but his teammate is kind of watching him in a big scrum of players. And Roquan, as the good defender that he is, wants to get to the pile and help finish the tackle. That's what you're taught to do. You got to go help your teammates go finish the tackle. Well, the opponent's teammate was kind of in the way. and Roquan Smith, his teammate was in the way, but his back was turned against Roquan. He didn't see Roquan at all. He's thinking the play's about to be over. Roquan Smith runs through the back of this opponent. He had no clue Roquan was coming. And Roquan then dives on top of the pile and he gets back up. And the guy is like, dang, man. He's like, don't get in the way when I'm running the football. He's like, I'm running the football trying to tackle somebody. You were in the way. Don't get in the way next time if you don't want to get hit. I mean, it was just from behind. It was relentless work. Guy was like, dang, Ro, you didn't have to do me like that.
Bulldozer stuff. It's what we come to expect from Roquan Smith. Bulldozing his way out of the scene in preseason was Shedeur Sanders, who got the start for Cleveland. And obviously there's been lots of chatter about this leading up to, afterwards. Where does Cleveland go from here? Joe Flacco did not play. Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel dealing with some soft tissue stuff. Deshaun Watson, not readily available. Tyler Huntley, obviously they just brought in. But it was Shedeur's opportunity, Sarah, and he made the most of it. 14 of 23, 138 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, some tight window throws, showed some good operation handle of the offense, I thought. I actually had a chance to watch a good chunk of this game because I was just so interested in it. And Joe Thomas, I thought, shared some good insight just in terms of how to make, what to make, I should say, of this in the aftermath of it and where the Browns might go from here and what led to ultimately this decision, the lack of reps leading up with the first team, so on and so forth. So Joe Thomas, I would assume most football fans remember him from his Browns days, college football Hall of Famer, pro football Hall of Fame tackle. And he tweeted out this: for everyone pushing the Browns are setting Shedeur Sanders up to fail, and he calls it nonsense. Read Mary Kay Cabot, who, of course, is a friend of the show, beat reporter for clevelandsports.com, I think it is. And he says he's learning a brand new offense, mastering NFL pre-snap reads, and the staff is clearly invested in his development. Sometimes, quote, sabotage is just you closing your eyes to facts because the truth doesn't fit your desired narrative. Now, what's the specific clip or the snippet in this case that he pulled from Mary Kay's work? I'll read it. So why hasn't he got any first team reps, Mary Kay asks. Because he's had to get up to speed in all aspects of the pre-snap process, including replaying plays in the huddle, identifying the defense, sliding the protections, directing the motions, and making adjustments. From snap to throw, he's mostly been dynamite. Save for the times he's reverted. Save for the times.
Which means except for.
Save for the time. Wow, interesting. Yeah. Save for the times he's reverted to the habit of retreating under duress and taking would-be sacks. In fact, he's drifted less during 11-on-11s than 7-on-7s, which speaks to the gamer in him. At times I'm glad I have a writer in you with me. At times during mini camp and training camp, Sanders worked with third and fourth teamers on the opposite field, while the other three quarterbacks worked with the ones and twos installing the new offense. During some of those times, Stefanski stood directly behind Sanders, listening to him calling the play and gauging his vision. It's rare in camp for a head coach to spend so much time with the fourth-string quarterback, but the Browns have felt from the jump that Sanders was worth developing. The fact that Sanders had to catch up on the terminology, calling complex plays and other pre-snap procedures is not an indictment on his football acumen, which is extremely high. It's just that he hadn't done it to the extent that Gabriel had during his 6 years in college. While Sanders has had 6 offensive coordinators, the scheme, terminology, and concepts weren't necessarily overhauled by all of them. So what's that to say? Take the nonsense, as Joe Thomas said, and stick it where the sun don't shine in terms of they set him up to fail. It's just how Cleveland has gone about it. And now, what did he have a chance to do? Show who he is. Took a great step towards doing exactly that in preseason game number 1. We'll see where he goes from here. He played great.
He played really good. Some of those passes, Bobby, like whether on the run or remember he hit a touchdown pass in a small window. And yeah, like if Stefanski was out there helping him to the side, like, yes, a head coach, it's not normal to see a head coach put so much effort into the, quote unquote, fourth string quarterback. So it does sound like they are trying to develop him, but my goodness, what a game for him. And it's, I saw a clip put out by the Cleveland Browns. It was him wired. Shedeur was wired. And after, I don't remember, it was one of the plays that he had. He goes over to Myles Garrett, obviously the face of the Cleveland Browns franchise. And he's not suited up. The Cleveland Browns have done some dumb things in the past, but they weren't dumb enough to put Myles Garrett out there. So he's out there in his street clothes, and Shedeur comes up to him and he says, quote, "You think my spin stuff," I'll edit that, "you think my spin stuff would work on you?" Garrett looks at him and says, "No." And then Shedeur says, "I ain't gonna lie, I want to feel one of your swipes." Wants to be hit by him. So Garrett says,
wow.
"You're a good kid. I don't want to hurt you. We're gonna need you."
Hey, there you go. There you go.
That's really cool. Here's the thing. I've been rooting for Shedeur. I've been rooting for him. I'm very happy for his first preseason game. Once the season starts, however, as much as I love him and I'm rooting for him, I'm going to have to give him the Joe Flacco treatment. I love Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco is become the enemy. He became the enemy 2 years ago, and he's become the enemy again. And so as much as I'm rooting for Shedeur personally, just like I am for Joe personally, he's going to become big-time enemy once the season starts.
Speaking of treatment, there's a viral video of Shedeur Sanders and Tony Grossi sharing an exchange either before or after this preseason game. This is really interesting. Tony's been a guest on our show. He's a longtime Cleveland sports personality. And he and Shedeur had a chance to catch up. And Shedeur had a few things to get off his chest. Watch this.
Tony, I be hoping you be. Hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You always say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No. I ain't seen nothing positive that you ever said. I do something positive every day. What up, Tony? Come on, Tony. What I do to you, Tony?
I got to tell you, Sarah, this has gone stupidly viral online, as you would expect it would. I have absolutely no problem with it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was fair of Shedeur. I thought it was fair what Tony. I've been following it along this entire process, and it was such a refreshing look at what these relationships can consist of if you have a longtime veteran sports personality, a new guy on the scene. He's heard and probably seen and listened to what Tony has said about him, and he decided to go up and address him. At the end, for the audio-only audience, there was a good laugh, as you probably heard. These guys were, Shedeur put his hand on Tony's shoulder. It was all in good fun in a sense, but at the same time, I think it was just so refreshing to watch, and I had absolutely no problem with it.
But did anybody else have a problem with it? I thought he handled it so well. What was the problem?
Everybody had it. Everybody's got an issue with on both sides. Some people say, why does Shedeur care? Why is he taking the time to go up to a reporter in a sense, or a sports personality? The other side is like, Tony's an a-hole. I mean, it's just it's on and on and on. To me, it was such a refreshing look at an athlete media conversation that was playful in a sense, but also Shedeur wanted to get something off his chest, and I had absolutely no problem with that at all.
No, not at all. And listen, that is the best way. I think that's a lesson of how you do handle conflict. If you do have something to get off your chest with somebody, what better way than the way he just did? He meets it head on, right? But with a smile and with a little bit of laughter, a little like he's like his dad. He knows how to talk to people. He's got a little bit of charm in there and whatnot. And so like, I think that's the best way to do it. Why stonewall one another or go to the opposite extreme and just be a jerk to one another? Like that was, I like the word he used. It was refreshing. He's like, Tony, not one good thing about me, not one, buddy. Like, I think that's a great way to approach it.
He was respectful.
Yeah.
You couldn't really hear what Tony was saying because it was muffled, but I assume, knowing Tony personally, finally met him in person at the Combine, Sarah, this past year. And then you and I have had him on the show countless times over the years. He's a good dude. He gets, as Dre Dog would say, he gets dog walked online because he's an opinionated guy. But that's what makes people memorable. That's what makes people last as long as he has in a market like Cleveland. People don't understand that. You can have opinions and you can put differences as like, you don't have to hate somebody because you don't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's been lost in society. I will say, if there's something that was a bit premature, partner, it was Nike popping off, taking a chance with this Shedeur Sanders photo of a fist bump, almost a Tiger Woods fist bump, right? It starts up top with the flex, and then it flies down. It's like a pendulum on the way down. Tiger Woods, we've seen that over the years. Shedeur had a fantastic performance. He was feeling himself. Nike took advantage. Only a matter of time with the Nike swoosh. This was a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Nike took an opportunity when they saw it from a brand standpoint and marketing. I guess you got to tip your cap because it's a business at the end of the day, and they've done it better than anybody in their game for years.
That's exactly it. Hey, they are marketers at the end of the day, and they see an opportunity. So you don't hate it. And that is like, you kind of want to put it all in context, right? And so, yes, it was one preseason game. So even in his post-game interview, he was asked, what would you like to say to your dad? And Shedeur himself said, Dad, I'm sorry, because I know I messed up in different places. So he knows that he has stuff still to work on. It's not like Shedeur put up this Nike thing and said only a matter of time himself, right? So it's like Nike taking advantage of a moment because of what they do. So yes, it's one preseason game. And at the same time, why is everybody reacting like it's such a big deal? It's because of everything he's been through since the draft. It's because Mel Kiper was taking hits for saying, no, everybody's wrong. I can't believe he's dropped to the 5th round. This is stupid. This is crazy. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's just like, I mean, he got more hate than maybe even Lamar Jackson when Lamar was drafted, because Lamar at least got picked in the 1st round. It was the last pick of the 1st round, but it was still the 1st round. Shedeur Sanders had to wait to the 5th round and goes to a franchise who bungles their quarterback picks more often than they actually, like, I don't even know when the last time they actually did a good job with it. Baker actually left to be better. Could have been Baker, but then Baker went on and helped the Tampa Bay Bucks. And so it's like, you put in the context of pushing him there, all the bad reports, all the stuff, he's not getting any first team snaps, yada, yada, yada. There's been so much noise and criticism, and from some people, straight up hate towards Shedeur Sanders. So to see him get in the position where, because of injuries, he does have a prime opportunity in front of him, and then he snatched it. And that's all he can do, is snatch the opportunities that are given in front of him. And so, yes, it's a preseason game, but given all the noise that has been around him, it is cause for Shedeur Sanders fans to celebrate, while simultaneously know there's still a long ways to go, because, again, it was just the preseason, but I couldn't be happier for him.
As the live chats pointed out too, yes, this is his watch celebration, but I think Nike hopped on it because it sure to me looks like the classic vintage Tiger Woods fist bump celebration. But you're right. If you look closely, it is him showing off. It's not on. You can't have it on during the game. But yes, it's Shedeur's watch celebration.
Thus the phrase, only a matter of time.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Let's get some super chats. Dre Dog is celebrating 5 months of channel membership, and he writes, I really hope Bateman is watching Chad Johnson tape. Their builds dang near identical, and Chad was a great route runner. Pen 15 Shaft. Appreciate you, Dre. Thanks for all the support since we rolled out our channel memberships back in March. Pen 15 Shaft, Sarah, with an orange banner. That's $20. Super chat.
Just wanted to say thanks for providing us with quality Ravens content. You two do an excellent job, and y'all are killing it every lunch break for me. We appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot, actually.
We really do. Means a lot. Rave.
Rave Kingdom is back.
Rave. Well, if I'm going to call out Sarah, I'm going to call out Bobby. Oh, here we go. This ought to be good.
Okay.
After the Shedeur, he misspells Shedeur's name. After the Shedeur performance,
you give it back to him, Bobby.
Remember, this reads as rights. Okay. Well, I'm going to call out Sarah. I'm going to call out Bobby. After the Shedeur with 2 Ds performance, do your change your stance of Shedeur with 2 Ds and a U before the E, which is wrong, on draft day. You had an argument with Sarah about it. Do you feel they did do him dirty? We didn't have an argument about that, did we? No, where you and I were not on the same page was, what should the Ravens do? You were an advocate, theoretically, of bringing him to Baltimore when he was falling.
What do you mean theoretically?
I wasn't on that.
What do you mean theoretically?
Should they have had should they have had an opportunity to take him, which I guess technically they did.
5th round. Yeah, they could have.
You were on that bandwagon as he fell.
What round was Devin Leary? What round was Devin Leary? Wasn't he a 6th rounder?
Somewhere over there. I just don't understand what Rave, you're trying to get me. I don't know how you're trying to get me here. I need more clarity.
We definitely argued. You definitely. I wasn't buying into all the noise, and I felt like you were buying into it a little bit. I think that was yes. And
the credibility. Yeah, and what does he want me to say, that Albert Breer was lying about his interview process and how he handled the pre-draft process? Like, I don't. What do you want, Rave?
No, but I feel like I was like, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure the Giants felt the way Breer reported it. I'm not questioning that. But to me, it was like that noise wasn't a reason for him to drop that low. But I feel like you seemed to be okay with it. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth, because I'm just remembering it right now.
I'm just trying to figure out.
I thought we disagreed on 2 levels. It was one that it wasn't theoretical, and Devin Leary was indeed a 6th round pick. It was not theoretical. I'm like, go grab this man. He's fallen. How could you not get a backup of this caliber? You spend a 6th rounder on Devin Leary? Heck yes. use a 5th or maybe even 4th rounder on Shedeur Sanders to me. But the second thing is I was cutting through the noise a little bit more than I think you were at the time.
You were advocating for it. I was not advocating for it.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. I don't know what Rave is trying to pull out, but I would love to know. I would love to have some clarity on that, Sarah. And we figured out, and I needed a reminder, who at Fantasy is Reality 67 for you.
It says J equals James and L equals Lance Green. James Lance Green. And I think he had put up another super chat before that explaining it.
Yeah, he did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, James. We just juggle so many balls that unfortunately it's just there's some things memory-wise that no worries, Bobby B. Yeah. Paraphrasing 007. This one must have snuck in there somewhere.
That's
Sarah.
why I was saying when you were like, we're all cut up. And I was like, are you sure?
Well, I don't even, this one's not populated for me. So thanks for snagging
it's not.
That.
Okay.
But yeah, JL Green just letting us know that at Fantasy is Reality 67 is his handle, followed by his name, JL Green. So appreciate you, JL. I'll try my best to remember that before we figure out how the heck to get usernames back instead of handles. Olu, folks were wrong about Shedeur. Who's Shedeur? Sarah, do you know who Shedeur is?
Now you're just getting petty.
you know who I'll match petty with petty and look it in the eye.
Yeah.
Shedeur. Folks were wrong about Shedeur, just like they were about Lamar. You can have your opinion, but it got pretty personal. I will keep receipts, Bobby, with a listen, if you're going to keep receipts, Olu, you better use autocorrect. I know on YouTube, I don't believe they have autocorrect with just so we're clear. We appreciate the super chats as always. I don't believe they have built-in autocorrect, but I've been taught, Sarah, and as my partner is a writer, I think we can all an ode to Sarah would be, let's use autocorrect, or let's use our own proofreading autocorrect ability if we're going to throw in some opportunities.
Don't make me the standard. I have my fair share of grammar errors and all that. So
you're the standard. Miss late for work, you are the standard.
Hey, I had several editors behind me.
God King for you.
God King says they call prime time for short. Shedeur does the watch celebration to honor his dad. Nice. I don't think I knew all that background.
Appreciate you, God King.
I've got more.
He's not getting after me and trying to hop on the train of, receipts.
Hey, I got 3 more quick hits I want to get to real quick. Thus the name Quick Hits.
Excuse me?
I've got 3 more quick hits.
After you.
First of all, I at one time got it wrong and called Jair Alexander's celebration a seatbelt celebration, buckle up type thing. We have since corrected ourselves, but every time I say sword celebration, I feel like somebody in the chat, not everybody, is like, hey, no, it's a seatbelt celebration. So anyway, for the last time, here it is, Jair Alexander explaining what his celebration is. This is from the joint practices, Ravens Productions.
Started a podcast. What would it be called and what would you talk about?
My podcast would be called Frequencies of the Universe.
All right. Okay.
And it would star, interesting topics like aliens, nature, and good vibe.
I ain't gonna lie. That's what's up. That's different too. I like that. So what's the story on your Sinister celebration? And can you teach us how to do it?
Oh, it's pretty easy. Just watch.
Seatbelt?
No.
Wait.
It's a sword.
It's a sword?
It's a sword.
Oh.
Think about it. We're gladiators.
Okay.
Every gladiator needs a sword.
Okay.
So you bring it up here. And then you bring it down.
Okay, I like that. Okay, that's what's up.
My God.
Got to put it in a sheath after you've just done your damage. So that's it. It's a sword celebration. He was hilarious about the podcast thing. Jalen Armour Davis was at Podium over the weekend, Bobby, and he said that he's not sure who's like weirder between Jair and Marlon Humphrey. He was like, they're like twins. They're like twins. They were meant to be together in the same backfield. Meanwhile,
Jair meant to be in front of a microphone.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Jair also went to, I just want to make sure I get the school right. He went to meet and greet kids as they enter the field at the Weinberg Y in Waverly, Baltimore, for a back-to-school event to officially launch his newly formed foundation. So I want to give props to Karita Park and Bowie TV for that kind of footage there.
Bowie,
Bowie TV.
And, you know what they do to us, Sarah, with the Maryland pronunciations. I'm looking out for you.
I appreciate that. You know what? Not that I'm the standard, but I can help out with the grammar side. You help out with the pronunciation side, because I for sure do not have pronunciations down at all.
Just take the standard, please. Take the compliment, please, will you?
Okay, we'll do. And I just want to try in here. But good to see Jair in Baltimore. Just made a decision a little over a month ago, already doing his foundation, already down in the city. Good on Jair for embracing Baltimore. And finally, this, I think, deserves a good debate. Oh, actually, I don't know if we're going to have a debate. Maybe you're going to agree with me. Your favorite Twitter aggregator, Don Cliveman. Sorry, but this is good. And I'm sure he stole it from somebody. I just couldn't track down who. He put up this graphic where it has the different time zones. Okay, 4 different time zones. He asked which time zone is the best to watch sports.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a 1 p.m. football game. Okay. Yeah. Let's start there. Let's not jump to primetime yet. We got to take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
If you're watching an afternoon game, do you prefer the 1 p.m. Eastern time zone, 12 p.m., 11 a.m. in Mountain West, or 10 a.m. on the Pacific Coast? What would you say is the best time zone to just watch those 1 p.m. games for us? It's 1 p.m. for us.
Sure. Love this debate.
Okay.
To me, in my head, it's not much of a debate whatsoever. I think it's between Mountain Time and Pacific Time. And I think having done that remote week, there's going to be a debate between the two of us.
At least for this time zone, or at least for this time slot.
Ooh. Okay.
And maybe it's because my mornings are different from your on Sunday. I love 1 p.m. I got to go to church in the morning. I like to go to. Yes.
We're talking about okay. You
just
said
the
that.
Afternoon. That's why I said we'll get to prime time later.
I'm processing it.
Okay.
1 o'clock slot. I got you. I'll still go Mountain Time.
11 a.m.
I'll go Mountain Time.
Okay. Why 11 a.m. for you on a Sunday morning?
It just opens up the night more. You know, in my mind, with the way you and I are structured, right? It's not 10's a little early.
Mm-hmm.
1's a little late for my liking. But when you think about the way you and I are structured, our post-game shows don't typically start until 5 o'clock for 1 o'clock games.
Right.
Ish. That means I'm not wrapping up the day. Hopefully it'll be a little bit different this year because we have Brendan from an editing standpoint, but I don't typically wrap up everything and get to my personal channel until 8 o'clock. And it's just like a slog of a day. So any chance to start it a little bit earlier, get that nice turnaround into Monday, get that 6 a.m. workout that I'm going to try and sustain, that routine structure this upcoming season, I'll go with Mountain Time.
Okay. I hear that. I actually would change my mind if I wasn't a churchgoer every Sunday morning.
Right. And now yours is easy as to why.
So I got to get my church in.
And hey, remember,
if I did church at a different time, say like I did church at night, I for sure would be there for the 11 a.m.
I was going to say, remember, your commitment to Sundays is different than the average churchgoer too. Right?
True. Like I'm there every Sunday. I don't miss a Sunday.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If I can find a Catholic church that I really relate to and is convenient, I would slip in like a 8 a.m., 9 a.m. type thing on Sundays. I just haven't been in a place outside of Loyola where I went to school, and I loved their chapel, and I loved my Father Roach, who I had a personal relationship with. I just haven't found that in like 10 years. And so I've really turned into a semi-regular goer, meaning like for holidays and the occasional Sunday outside of football season.
Right.
If that changes, I can't wait to sneak it in before a football game, before a football Sunday. But yeah, I'll go with Mountain Time.
Okay, let's go then to prime time, which is where I think we'll be more on the same page. 8 p.m. Wait, what time does it start for us? 8:30 or 8? Feels like they listed at 8 p.m. What are we doing here?
West. I'm going west, baby.
Oh, well, on the screen, it looks like you're going east. Reverse it. There you go. There you go.
That's where I'm headed.
Wait, are you all the way to the Pacific? Or are you even going to put Mountain West as a like? Think about this.
No, nope. Don't even set it up.
You're not going to get home from work in time for football to start if you're on Pacific time.
Don't care.
In the Mountain West, which is where I grew up, it's 7 o'clock, so you can finish work and grab dinner or like grab the kids or do your soccer game or whatever. And then the game starts and you're done by 10, which is a great time to go to bed. But if you're on the West Coast, you're still at work. You're trying to get home in that traffic out there in LA to get home by 6 o'clock for a game to start. That's rough. 7 is perfect. I call Mountain West for the primetime games.
I'm selfish. I don't care about anybody else's schedule. All right. I need every hour I can get when it comes to primetime football, partner, because Mondays are horrific. That's what I'm going with.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm surprised. We disagreed on both the afternoon and the night games.
Oh, of course we disagree. We love a good disagreement.
But for sure, the East Coast is the worst for primetime games.
It's not even
horrible.
It's not even remotely close.
8:20 is right. Somebody in the chat is saying like they bill it for 8 o'clock, but it really doesn't start till 8:20.
Yep. No doubt.
It's rough.
Yep. Back to some super chats, and then we got to jump.
Okay.
Rave is back with us for like the 4th or 5th time today. And
Rave,
he writes,
Rave has stuff to get off his chest. He disagrees with us.
Apparently, and he thinks he's got receipts on me. We'll see about that.
Okay.
Bobby said him falling was an opportunity, and people didn't seem as ready enough. Sarah argued they did him dirty. You didn't see it as dirty. He's going back to April. Bobby said him falling was an opportunity, and people didn't seem as ready enough. Sarah argued they did him dirty. You didn't see it as dirty. Yeah, I didn't see it as dirty.
Okay.
At all. I saw it as a value like the result of evaluation.
I don't even know if I don't know. And Rave, maybe your phrase of did him dirty is different from mine. I don't know that say the Giants did him dirty. I mean, I don't know why you're telling people that. I mean, you are kind of.
Did you see Jackson start? Jackson's he made a good first impression with the Giants, Jackson Dart, who they went with instead.
Yeah. All I know is there was a bunch of noise about him, which I thought should not have been, I don't think should have overshadowed what he did in his college career. And I felt like he probably got outsized noise because of who his father is.
Plenty of it.
And by the way, to the super chat, my church used to be 3 hours long. It used to be since I was born, I'd go to church for 3 hours.
Wow.
But in can't remember. I think it was 21 or something like that. They changed it to 2 hours. So now my church is only 2 hours.
Row Live 95, still commitment. Row Live 95 says, pause that, Bobby, LOL. No mom, fee juggle, nothing, with some laughing emojis. God King has become our newest channel member and official Voltron status. Appreciate you, God King. I have no idea what Row Live was trying to say. So Heather McCubbins is celebrating 4 months of channel membership. Thank you, Heather. Congratulations. You can throw a comment in that attached as well for your anniversary.
Yeah.
But we're glad you're here nonetheless. God King says, you get a pass today, Bobby. It's all love, my man. So if I didn't get a pass, what would you be doing? Huh? God King, you cracked me up. Sod Blitz, Sarah, for you.
Sod Blitz says he can get hurt in practice too. You don't play football worried about injury. It's beyond your control, but you can control how you prepare. You are. Ask KC. So Sod Blitz is coming back talking about he's a proponent of playing starters in the preseason. And it's true that you can get injured in practice, but the injury rate is not even the same. Let's not pretend it's the same. Like you're tackling, it's an opponent. They're trying to get after you. In practice, you can tell people don't go after the quarterback. Don't tackle here. Don't tackle there. It's definitely levels to it, Sod. So I disagree with you, but hey, it's an endless debate that goes on. It's an endless debate.
Joe Jenkins checking in. Good afternoon, Voltrons. Go Ravens. Appreciate you for being here, Joe. And God King says Bobby's stance was he was supposed to be a 5th rounder. Well, I didn't know what he was supposed to be. It was more like I was holding weight. I was giving weight to and merit to the evaluation reports that were out there, the interview process, the Dion effect. I mean, there was so much that was in it. Wasn't just one specific reason that Shedeur fell in my mind based on everything that was a part of the puzzle. So I don't think I ever had a stance that he was supposed to be specifically a 5th rounder. That's where he ended up. And now he's going to have a chance to prove everybody wrong like he did a good start to doing this past weekend.
Rave Kingdom, go get the clip from. Let's get the clip. I actually am very interested in what he remembers, because to me, like the specific words you and I used are very like I don't remember it. I just remember the general stance both of us took. So he was saying, Rave said that I was super upset about the argument about it all, and that he's surprised I don't remember it. I mean, I definitely remember the general feeling. I just don't remember the words that were used.
Lewis is celebrating 5 months of channel membership for you.
He says, you know how I feel about you all. Everyone stay mentally tough. Love and peace to all.
Appreciate you, Lewis. You're the man. You are the man. So are Kai and Darian, who are this episode's shout-out Patreon members of ours because of the support that they give us through there for really months on months running. So thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you both. And you guys, if you're interested, can visit patreon.com/RavensVault podcast to learn more about what we're offering so you can get more involved with the channel should you want to. Thanks, everybody. Great start to the week. Going to be a busy Monday. Thanks to Cordell Woodland from 105.7 The Fan who joined us. He'll next be up when, partner?
Wednesday. He'll be back Wednesday. Mm-hmm.
It's a new segment that we've decided, a new little partnership for training camp with Cordell Woodland. So we appreciate his time. We appreciate all of you for spending some time with us on this Monday. If you could, on the way out, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member, consider gift giving, maybe go visit thevaultpod.com/shop to get yourself a piece of merch. It's our new apparel line, and the season is just weeks away. So appreciate you guys. Thanks to you, partner, and thanks to Bemore Around Town, as always, for the support. Go check them out, BemoreAroundTown.com. If you want to go pop on a road trip this upcoming season, attend a tailgate. They got a ton of stuff going on there at Bemore. We appreciate them very much. So for Sarah, I'm Bobby signing off from this Monday show. We'll be back with you in under 23 hours from right now for a Tuesday edition. And until then, Voltrons, we appreciate you guys. And thanks for spending some time with us here inside the vault. We'll talk to you soon.